How did you react when you gained some understanding about yourself and the nature of a manifesting generator, quantum human design language, a time bender? Miranda, I'll start with you.
I was like, oh, thank you. Because I had spent all of my life learning different things and going into different areas. And I brought my experiences with me, but I would have people say to me like, well, when are you just going to pick one thing? Or how come you keep changing directions? Or how come you don't understand? You don't stay with one specific thing for a long period of time. And I thought something was wrong with me. Like, why do I get bored with this? And why does it not light me up anymore? So I would get down on myself for not sticking it out. And then there were a few times that I did stick something out and I felt like wasn't inspired. And then something would come up for me where I was let go. Or, so it's like, hello, this does not inspire you anymore. Move on. This is giving you what you needed. Now move on to the next thing. So it really gave me an appreciation for, oh, good, I get to dive in and do all the things with this now. And also, if it no longer lights me up, I can say, okay, thank you, and then move on with no judgment and be compassionate and loving for what I learned through that experience. So it really helped me learn to let go and love myself for who I truly am. And I get to learn tons of things, which just excites me. So I was very appreciative.
Yeah. And thank you for saying the no judgment. I think for me and just the whole experience of human design is when you recognize that nature about yourself is to not judge it because it just is. And the gift is in that. And it's something that I know for myself, like at 49, I was for the first time learning that it was okay not to judge. And these things are not weaknesses. They're foundational character traits, and there's magic in those. And yeah, I completely resonate with all of that. So thank you. Lisa.
When I first learned that I first came across traditional human design, and then, again, going down the rabbit hole, came across quantum human design. And when I first heard the word time bender to describe the manifesting generators, that's when it really clicked for me, because I was like, oh yes, that's what I'm doing. And it really, like you said, Miranda, it was so supportive because I do move really fast and I jump around a lot. So it just was really affirming this, like, oh yeah, this is how I operate. It's okay to be like this. There's nothing wrong with me. I have so many ideas, right? Like all the time. And what I love also about the strategy is to envision, and to spend more time on the envisioning process of the ideas before I initiate. So that's been really affirming as well. It's like, because I like when I'm in that envisioning place, I really like being there. And so just letting myself, without attachment to any outcome, just be there and be in that process. And then the challenge, I'm sure we'll get to this, has been learning not to initiate. So that was another thing that was, again, insightful, because I was like, oh, I am super conditioned to initiate. And also that's the kind of the struggle I have, because like you said, Marla, that's when things just aren't working, right? I'm pushing against something, forcing it, trying to force it, make it happen. And then I'm like, oh, that's the initiating that's not working. So it has been incredibly insightful and just so empowering, ultimately just really empowering.
Nice. You just made me think of adding a little something there about the strategy. So thank you for that. I am responding to your comment and seeing another opportunity to add value here in the panel. Kalyani.
What I loved about human design and really just understanding it was I was always different. And it sort of kind of validated for me why I had been bullied as a child, is because my chart actually literally shows me that I am different. And again, we're not getting into the too many details, but again, I have a lot of individual circuitry. So I am here to march to my own tune. And that made sense. And that would obviously trigger people around me. So for me, that was like, okay, this makes sense. So all the times that I tried to fit in, human design gave me the permission to be myself. And that was a big thing. It's like, I'm going to be myself. And in light of that, I mean, I recently posted a video where I debunked typically anti-bullying techniques, outdated ones that don't work. And I just shared one technique that does. Because again, that is how I am different. I see what works and I follow that. The other thing that I love about human design is when you look at different people's charts, what they ended up doing, because one of the things I started doing is researching into famous people's charts, and I looked at Nelson Mandela's, and he only really stepped up into his spiritual purpose at age 76. So we've been conditioned to believe that success is supposed to happen at a certain age. It's supposed to look like this, and being rich, having money equals success. Mm-hmm. And we put so much pressure on ourselves to do certain things by a certain age. And human design literally teaches you that, you know what, you've got all the time in the world. Trust the process, trust the universe, trust yourself. And like I say, the biggest key takeaway is for me, to trust myself, to trust my sacral response, to know what it feels like. It's like, yes, I want to do this. So a very good example is, a lady reached out to me a couple of days ago. She wanted me to write articles for her magazine. And it was like an immediate sacral no. I didn't even have to think about it. Before human design, it would be like, well, I love writing and, maybe this will get me somewhere. And this was like, nah, I'm not doing this. It was so fast. I don't know about you guys, but with me, my sacral response is so fast. It's like a short circuit. Like, nope, I'm not doing this. And that's what it literally feels like. I read the first line, nah. It's like when Marla, when you messaged me, my first thing is like, I didn't even finish reading what you said. It's like, I want to do this. Yep, let's do this. And I just want to throw this in there. A sacral response, what it feels like, it is expansive. You literally feel like your heart is glowing, flowing. You don't feel constricted. And no literally feels like you're shrinking away inside of yourself. So it's been helpful for me to recognize my physical body response, because we've been, again, conditioned to think with our heads and not think about how our body feels around certain thoughts, certain decisions, certain ideas. It's like, ask yourself, how does your body feel? We're primal. Mm-hmm. We've forgotten that. And we need to remember that again.
Mm-hmm. Very true. And I'm glad you brought that up. That's what it's taught me. It's taught me to get out of figuring it out.
Yes.
And in being in my body. And that example that you gave, a business opportunity or an opportunity to write, you recognize right away, having lived and practiced your design, is like, my body's telling me, no, I'm not going to have the energy to do this. I'm going to be pushing myself. And what I find now is some of those times when that happens, and looking back, is that blocks the right opportunities coming to you when you're actually expending your energy on something that you've gone against your sacral response, right? The response sense of going, ooh, or bleh. That's how I like to describe them. I have like 1,000 shades of sacral response. But yes, ask me if I want ice cream. It's like, ooh. Right. Ask me if I want to write a 10,000 word essay on, I don't know, tripods. Like, oh, like, what are you talking about? But yes, and you see, that's the difference now between that and, let's say, old school business, which would have been, well, you should write this because this is a good opportunity for exposure, and you're crazy. Yes. What are you doing that you're not writing on this? This woman asked you, like, you have to say yes. And, that to me is such a beautiful and vital tool. It's more like, I think this is my take. We're going to reach success faster. However we define success, I define it, within the realm of fulfillment. You're going to reach success faster when you're actually following that response mechanism and say, and jumping into the things you say yes to. And it's by practicing that you really get to the finesse of the differentiation between a hell no, I don't think so, right? And, you know, the varying degrees of yes until you hit a hell yes. And when you hit a hell yes and you start going, oh, that's what that feels like.
Exactly. That's what it feels like. And document it. I truly believe document it so you have a point of reference that, okay, I know what this feels like. So this is the feeling I'm going for.
I always compare it to ice cream. So.
I love that.
If it feels like ice cream, like, yes. Yes. Well, speaking
chocolate.
What's up?
Yeah. Chocolate, yeah.
I'm like, you know, all the things, whatever makes you like excited and juices you up. It's like, yeah. And yeah, that's the number one thing is getting out of here and respecting my body. I'm telling myself now, and I'm a very grounded person. It's all about the head, right? And the studies it's all about the body. My body will tell me. And it's not just a yes or no. I find sometimes it's that, let's say, for example, if I'm trying to tackle a work project, or, you know, my big thing is like social media. There are things that I naturally gravitate to or do, which are easier. And I don't, you know, I sit back and I'm like, wow, I'm really not excited to do this over here. But I really just keep on coming back to what does seem interesting and easy and flowy for me, because my social media presence doesn't have to look like anybody else's social media presence, and vice versa. And so every decision in my business is based on not just, yes, I want to do it, no, I don't do it, but what would feel good, right? So, you know, it's been quite an amazing journey. So enough about me.